project and portfolio 3 at Full Sail and a member of the team POCUS. We are doing our final video for our 2-month project to wrap up PnP3 and answering all the questions that we need to go over for the end of the month. I'm going to start by opening with the first question. First question for our app is, what is our app? And we're going to both be answering here today. Our app is POCUS, which is essentially an app for tracking your tasks and things that you need to do that's specifically geared toward ADHD and people that have difficulties with learning and keeping track of what they're doing in their day to day. You want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's basically a productivity app that is designed to help the users. We started with a concept that was focused on ADHD individuals with ADHD, but also it's for everyone that it's a basic idea that we also think about expanding other ways.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the next question is, what is the current status of development? Where we are at currently is a finished MVP stage. We are attached to the main Google platforms that we want to be attached. We're able to do the extremely basic functions of our app, which means we were able to accomplish what we wanted to for the end of this class. The app is also set up in a way where it can expand into the greater, more robust features we want to get into very quickly. What would be some of the features you think we would expand into first?
We were talking about sliding notifications, and we're also um, I- personally I think about putting a lockdown, so like we block all the other background processes, so there's a lot of stuff um, running in the background, capturing your data, so presenting you with ads and things that will actually take your focus off. So to better complete our app and our idea, I think that having that all blocked and lockdown mode without taking key
Right.
functionalities of the device will be important to achieve that goal.
Right. Right, a lockdown mode that disables distractions is going to be massive. And when we talk about what went right on this project, which is our next question, if I had to give one thing that went right on this project for me, it was the experience of the team I got to work with. I feel a few of my teammates had already been in a space where they had worked on projects like this. And although we had things that came up in our lives and in our personal spheres that cause problems, I feel like my team really knew what they were doing when it came to a project build and was able to pivot to make sure we got to MVP on time. What do you think?
I agree with you 100%. And it's hard because on a regular team in a company, some of us have experience with that. Working in the industry, we have teams that are 2 people, and we have teams that are like dozens of people. Sometimes it's hard to get a meeting with one of them to implement something that we were working on together. But we are there working every day, and we are required to clock in, clock out, and report on what we are doing. When we are working in a school setting in a project, it's hard because we have our personal lives, and I believe that learning how to do that and still manage to deliver what we did so far was important. So I agree 100%.
And I think what went wrong, me and Marcio could probably agree on majorly, was a lack of consistency in the communication. And not from the sense of we all needed to hop on a bunch of more meetings. I think one thing I realized throughout the process, especially as working with you, was that there are ways for us to communicate without having to get in meetings. There needed to be more reporting, especially even on my part, in the agile board and some of our notes and some of our communication between front end and back end. There, you were doing a lot of the legwork, I think, to keep us in communication. And I think if we had structured or maybe emphasized to myself and other team members why that would have made the app move so much quicker in the beginning, or maybe we just didn't have as many things come up that stop us, that would have been a major, major unlock. So if I had to say what went wrong in the project, better non face to face communication, better updates in digital communication was major. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of how to say suspect to say. I don't know if that makes sense because last week I was sick and I wasn't on at all. But all the other weeks I apologize for the team members. I know I was annoying getting on you guys all the time,
Oh, not at all. We
but
needed you. Would never
but
have happened.
But I agree with you. I had all those documents. I was like almost like getting there, go do that. It's mainly because I agree. Like we are working, we do things, major things happen in our lives, and we cannot control. So having that documentation updated is important, and that's why the emphasis I was trying to emphasize so much. But at the end of the day, I get that we're learning, and that's part of the process, I guess. In the next class, we're gonna look back and say, oh gosh, I wish I had done that better.
Absolutely. Which enters us perfectly into our next question, which is what is the advice we would give to PnP2 and 3? And I'll go first and then you give yours. But my number one is assign a project manager. Pick someone within your group who's going to be responsible for making sure people are communicating, sending out some text messages, defining roles for the users and what they need to be specifically working on. We had a very strong start due to that structure, and Marcio taking a big role in that. I think again where we weakened in the later parts was maintaining that communication digitally and on our boards because life got in the way. But that initial setup made us get out the gate very, very strong, and I think that is something that I would highly recommend to everyone else. Set someone as the person in charge of the project to that degree from the first step. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. And so I want to also like I think that one of the important things for new students coming to this project is to this class is um, don't focus too much on coding. Don't focus too much on how much you're gonna get done and how perfect your coding or your code or your app is gonna be at the end. Focus on the communication. Have a structure. Choose someone to be your manager. Define as Devin said, define the roles and the tasks. Um, but more important than that, keep the communication up, keep the
Yep.
documentation, and keep in mind, above all things, that the class is not about coding. The class is about
Right.
your teamwork. At the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
when you go to the presentation every week, you're not presenting your work, but the teamwork. Nobody wants to
Right.
know what you did, what the other person did. They want to know what the app does. The app is the star, and that's your point. And if the app is not complete, remember this is a concept app. You're going to expand from there. So right now you're
Mm-hmm.
working on the effectiveness of your teamwork, and that's my main.
Exactly. I fully agree with that. And the other thing about like what do we like about this class is the last question. What would we change if we could? I like to say the one thing I liked about is how realistic was in that way. I know we both have worked in the industry a little bit before, so one thing we can comfortably say is like this is much closer to what it's actually like than the other classes are. Giving these reports to stakeholders, working on feature after feature week in and week out, tons of time debugging, communication issues, logging into Get and making sure things are pushing correctly. All these are things that we don't necessarily deal with in every class that we get to deal with here, which is amazing. That's one. Getting thrown into a new programming language, I think, was really valuable and was a great challenge. So that was two. And then for me, Patrick is a really incredible teacher. I think it's very hard to be a teacher that is fair and that challenges you while also being a really loving and caring individual to your students. And I think he balanced that perfectly. I was really impressed with his teaching. So those would be my three. What would be yours?
Yeah, I think for me, what I like the most is just the simple fact that um, we are not restrained to
Mm-hmm.
a framework of what we need to do. We can pick and choose. Yes, we had the app, not the app, the language that we need to choose. We had the agile. Certain structures were there, but we were free to choose our own project and how we were going to go about that. And I think the from that the lesson that we get is that um, it when we work with the team and we start a project so early from scratch, um, you get to experience and like the setbacks um, and I think that setbacks that are more important than anything when you're learning. So for me personally, yes, I worked in the industry, but working in this project in particular, I was able to learn a lot about how um, having so many goals and having to shorten them and still be able to deliver
Right.
a great product or a great concept is still sometimes even better than having a finished project that is actually not as robust and promising. So I think that's
Right.
one of my favorite parts of the class. But I have to agree with Devin. Patrick is a I wouldn't say professor like no professor that I have so far has been like him. Um, Listen to him. Don't be afraid to approach him. He's a wonderful human being, and I say that not just to how do you say? I don't even know the word in English for that, but
You're
I'm
not
not
trying to
trying.
fluff him. It's true.
Yeah.
It's really true. You
Um,
can tell he cares about us in a way
I
that it's
personally had personal problems that I didn't even say anything, but I was trying to come up with a solution with something in the class, and he ended up helping me with my personal struggle, and and that takes a lot of humanity and heart. So like he's wonderful, and I hope that and that's bad for him actually because it's a lot of things to do, but I hope that every student at Full Sail will go through him.
right.
That's
He ain't gonna make it easy either. So it's not one of those super nice teachers you can take advantage of.
no,
This was hard for
no.
me. We had to work for this. I mean, there were times where we lulled off and we worked harder, but it was a serious 2 month project. But that does answer all the questions. I appreciate everyone's time coming on for our video. Jonathan, do you want to throw anything on before we wrap up our final video for the project?
And Jonathan is our
Li-
UI artist.
Front end expert.
I appreciate it, yo. Man, I just got back from the gym. I'm about to give me some food, but no, I have nothing else to say. I appreciate you guys, man. It's been a pleasure, to be honest, and hopefully, that'd be pretty cool.
We appreciate you too, Jonathan. Again, both of you guys, more than anything, thank you for the work you've put in this month. I feel like we have all going to graduate here with our AAs and a good grade. I am excited for that. So, and more than anything, like seriously, guys, y'all know what I'm doing in DevBerry. I'm working on contracts like this all the time. If you're looking for work, if you're looking to get into the space, keep up with me. Like I love this stuff. I'm doing events and
Let's
stuff
talk
all
right
the time.
after this meeting, then, boy.
Yeah, man, that's it. Keep it. You have
Yeah,
my number already, man, Marcio. But Jonathan, I'll make sure I send it over your way and in the chats. Let's all stay in touch. I'm pumped to get done with this class so we can submit and be over it. But I want to stay in touch with you guys. I want us to keep in the same circles. And I'm about to have to drop here, but I appreciate you both. I appreciate all the time you've put in, and I hope we stay in touch.
All
Cool.
right, thank you so much, everybody. And just for the credits, we have Tristan and Damaris also in the group, and we
Yes,
appreciate the work that you guys have done too. Thank you so much, everybody,
absolutely.
and I hope to see you guys in the next class too.
We will talk soon. Everyone, keep pushing it.
all
Bye,
right.
guys.
Bye.